When it comes down to Miami versus Kansas City, I think you're going to see a similar matchup to the Week 9 game where it's kind of back and forth. It was a 21-0 lead, but it wasn't a 21-0 score or gameplay. The Tyreek Hill fumble really changed the way that game, the first half looked. So I think you're going to see back and forth. I expect good Dolphins in the first half. The offense, we didn't even talk about the injuries. The Dolphins on the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Phillips out, Bradley Chubb out, Van Ginkel out, their starting linebackers out, Xavier Howard's out. So many stars on that defense are not going to be playing in this one. That only helps the Kansas City effort. Offensively, though, Miami should be mostly healthy. I think they're going to be able to move the ball up and down the field. It's just when will that critical mistake happen? And I do expect it to happen. So I think you'll get a really competitive game, a fun one. The Dolphins will just make 1 to 2 too many mistakes down the stretch, and Kansas City will wind up winning by about maybe 7 points. Maybe it could be a field goal game, but tight game. Chiefs win. How about you?
If you're a Dolphins fan, don't look at the injury report because the Dolphins injury report is always scary to look at. I mean, here's their injury report for today. Some things: Jalen Waddle, limited ankle. Jalen Ramsey, limited knee. Mostert, limited knee ankle. Hill, limited ankle and a new quad injury. Xavier Howard did not practice, foot. Taron Armstead did not practice, knee, ankle. Right? So just it seems like every star is hurt, but I expect them basically all to come back and play. There's a critical player missing for the Dolphins in that first matchup, right? HN wasn't playing. It was all on Mostert. And HN had arguably, I know he was injured, but on a per play basis, maybe the best season we have ever seen from a running back.
Oh, he was.
You know how many yards? You know how many yards per carry he averaged, Paul?
I know it was up around 8 at one point. I'm
he finished at 7.8 over on 103
Ziggy,
touches.
When you look at the average yards per carry for HN, it's, or at least the players around him. Everyone else, it's like, a quarterback or receiver who ran the ball once or twice during the season. He's the only guy. Do you know how many carries he ended with?
He had 103.
Yeah, 103 to average 7 yards.
I mean, that's an NFL record by 1.5 yards per carry.
Yeah,
for players who've had over 100.
For anyone who enjoys metrics or any Dolphins fans, go look at the average yards per carry, and you'll see HN in a league of his own. It's unbelievable what he did this year. Sorry to interrupt you. I was blown away from that number.
You know the last player to average over 6 yards per carry on over 100 carries, Paul?
No.
Mercury Morris, who was also a Miami Dolphin when he did it, actually, funny enough. But the point is just this rarely happens. And then you look at the Chiefs' run defense, and as good as their pass defense has been, and as good as their secondary has been, they're 30th in rushing EPA. They're 24th in yards per attempt allowed at 4.5. And the Dolphins thrive off getting a good running game going and play action. So while it's easy to count the Dolphins out because of their struggles against big teams, those big teams have mostly had pretty good run defenses. So I think there's good reason to believe, actually, that if the Dolphins can get their running backs healthy and get things going on the ground, the Chiefs, who thrive in man and are terrible in zone, are going to have to overcommit to the run. And then Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, off to the races, 1 million touchdowns. So the Dolphins do have a path to victory for this game.
Oh, for sure.
Is it going to happen? I don't think so. I really badly want it to happen. I'd love to see this Dolphins team do well. It's always good to watch producer Zach have a good time. But it's just tough for me to see this Dolphins team going on the road in Arrowhead and winning.
I'm with you. I stand right with you. It would be nice to see a Dolphins run. They're a fun team to watch, man. When they're rolling, some of the throws Tua makes, you'll see him thread the needle in the middle of the field to Tyreek, and there's 4 guys there, and he just puts it like when they're clicking. There's not many offenses in the league that are more enjoyable to just sit back and watch. Again, just when are they going to make that mistake? And I expect it to happen.